Most renowned entrances, I think, in boxing history. Being preceded to the ring by the Egyptians. And here comes Ronnie Davison leading his charge. Eubank, of course, from Brighton on the south coast. And his record to date, 43 wins, 2 losses and 2 draws, with 21 knockouts to his credit. He's had some spectacularly good nights. He's had some miserable, awful nights. His opponent, Luis Dionisio Barrera, 35 wins, 8 losses, 4 draws, 16 knockouts. But here's the man. He's also the promoter. Let me remind you that Eubank had his first 5 pro fights in America.
Proudly presents an international light heavyweight contest. 3-minute round, sponsored by Al matchmaker Frank Turner. And we welcome our viewers joining us here on Eurosport. You've joined us for the best ringside seat in the business. The officials have been appointed. Timekeeper Ray Rock from Morden, London, England. And when the action begins, referee is star referee John Cole of Wolverhampton, England. They are the officials. Here are the contestants. Firstly, and introducing to you, fighting out of the red corner. He's wearing the white trunks trimmed with blue. Weighed in at 12 stone and 6 pounds, and brings a record of 47 contests, 35 wins, 8 losses, 4 drawn, 16 coming by the way of the big KO. He's the former South American champion from Buenos Aires, Argentina, Luis Barrera. He's back, the Lord of the Manor. Ladies and gentlemen, he's wearing those famous gold trunks. He weighed in at 12 stone and 6 pounds. He brings to the ring an impressive 47 fight record, 43 wins, 2 drawn, 2 defeats, 21 wins coming by the way of the big KO. He's the 2-time middle and super middle champion of the world from Brighton, and Chris, simply the best, Eubank.
So John McDonald then, our MC, going through
Ladies and gentlemen,
his familiar act.
This is 10 3-minute rounds of boxing with Style on the Nile.
So Chris Eubank then, there you are, 43 wins, 2 losses, 2 draws, 21 knockouts to his credit. This is 10 3-minute rounds. Now, Chris Eubank, the most successful world champion Britain has ever produced. Successful, in fact, in 19 world title fights at middle and super middleweight. But the big problem he's always had, he only was ever champion of the WBO. Still fighting desperately for recognition up against the WBC, the WBA and the IBF, not to mention the WBU, and 3 or 4 more others who may have been formed as I've been speaking. As I said, this is not about Barrera. Barrera, in fact, as John McDonald pointed out, was a former South American champion, but it's worth knowing that was 4 years ago when he was a welterweight. Now, of course, he's 2 stone heavier up against the biggest poser in the game. Now, politically, and in lots of other ways, Chris Eubank and I are 1,000 miles apart. But I'm glad he's back. Probably the most colourful performer of the best part of a decade in Britain. I was there when he made his first British performance against Darren Parker at Effingham Park. And he actually beat Parker in the first round. I was there for his second British performance He beat the old gentleman Winston Burnett in Hove Town Hall. I was there when he beat Mel Justin. I was there when he beat Anthony Logan in one of his career best performances. But unfortunately, I was there also when he fought one of his career worsts against Frankie Morrow. Not, of course, all Eubank's fault that night at the York Hall. One of the worst fights I've ever seen. It was a real stinker. Fortunately, that night, Andy Till fought Wally Swift for the first time. And what a fight that was. Eubank, of course, has always been trained by Ronnie Davis and was originally managed by Keith Miles. Keith sorted out the legal problems that Eubank had accrued for himself, got him back with a clean slate, and this is where he is now. Brother, of course, of Simon and Peter Eubank. Two light welterweights, no longer active. Cousin of Bobby Joe Edwards, and of course Diane Modal, who is Bobby Joe's sister. So quite a sporting tradition in the Eubank family. Now, think of the reasons for the clash there. The reasons for this comeback, I don't believe it's financial. I don't think Eubank's that silly. It's about the buzz. You can't buy the buzz. Having been there and back on so many occasions, Chris Eubank can't live without that rush of adrenaline. You can be a lottery winner and you cannot buy the buzz. It's a very unique combination of many, many things that culminate in what I call the buzz, and of course not only me, many others, and that's what he can't live without. But for how long, I wonder? How long will the public sustain his act? One thing's for sure. There's John Call, the referee. They spelt John wrong, of course, but we don't care, do we? Comes from Wolverhampton. That's how they spell it in Wolverhampton, I think. Also, of course, imported from Britain as we come out for round 2 of the Schedule 10. Yes, I was saying that I don't think matchmaker Frankie Turner has done either Eubank or indeed this crowd too many favours in the choice of opponent. Of course, Eubank needs someone to look good against. He needs someone who has got not the slightest hope of beating him, but there is a limit. Of course, it's terribly difficult to know exactly what Chris has got left at this stage in his career. He's at his peak, of course, at 30, being, well, boxing here as a light heavyweight. I will read a quote to you of what he said. That makes me think he'll go back down to super middle. He did, in fact, say in Boxing News, when they announced his retirement, a move to light heavyweight doesn't interest me. I have therefore decided to retire almost at the pinnacle of my career. And yet we see him here on the comeback as a light heavy, which won't last. But then again, we remember back to those days when he had such terrible trouble making the super middleweight 12-stone limit. Will he be prepared to put himself through that again? Of course, he'll only have to do that in the event of getting a title shot. A win, of course, over Barrera here won't put Chris Eubank, I'm afraid, back in the top 10 or even top 20 in the independent world boxing rankings, but it gets him back on a slightly lower rung than that. By the way, it's worth knowing that Barrera lost his last 4 fights. One was an Argentinian title fight, one was an IBF Intercontinental title fight, and one was for the South American Championship against Mauricio Amaral, the only common opponent, by the way. And Barrera was disqualified in the 6th round by Amaral. Amaral, by the way, was one of those Eubank opponents who looked to have been terribly treated by the judges. My 2 sons, I took them that night at Earl's Court. They thought, as I did, that Amaral was a worthy winner. He didn't get it. And more of that to come. Well, I don't think it's even worth talking about who's winning the rounds. It's not about winning and losing, it's about performing. About the highs and lows of Chris Eubank's career, he had a massive high when he beat Anthony Logan, his first big-name opponent. And then, of course, the script went awry against Frankie Morrow next time out. Johnny Melfa, fourth-round knockout, was a cracking win. He had a third-round win over Dennis Cronin down in Cardiff. He had a great night, the night he won the WBO middleweight crown from Nigel Benn. And of course, he looked pretty poor and head-butted Dan Sherry. He looked to have lost the first time against Michael Watson, hence Watson's rematch. He looked to have lost against Sugarboy Malinga. He looked to have lost against Nigel Benn in their rematch at Old Trafford. He boxed very well against Graziano Roccagiani, the German, in Germany. He boxed badly against Mauricio Amaral. He boxed badly and looked to have lost against Dan Schommer. Then, of course, everything came right the night he beat Henry Wharton. And, of course, the two losses against Steve Collins. Well, Collins, a strong, durable kind of man who probably beats Chris Eubank 8 days a week, as he would Nigel Benn. Collins currently probably the best, or the second best, super middleweight in the world today, second to Roy Jones. Chance to see Roy Jones, of course, here on Eurosport on Saturday. Don't miss that. And try and put Chris Eubank's performance, not only here, but over the last few years, into perspective with a look at the master. And of course, Eubank is desperate to establish himself as someone who'll be remembered with a great deal of affection, and not only that, respect by the fight trade. I've been as guilty as everybody else, of course, in the fight trade of rubbishing Eubank's opponents, rubbishing his performances, but he's only got himself to blame for that. A lot of the time, he has an opportunity to put things right. Will he take it? Will he take that often proposed match against Roy Jones? We don't want to see him fight Collins again. We don't want to see him fight Ben again. Of course, a match against Roy Jones would finish him off, career-wise, but make him a few quid. And that's, I think, Chris Eubank's problem. He's missed the boat. I hope I'm wrong, as I say, because he's a very colourful character, just the kind of man we need in the game of professional boxing. Not that British fight fans, of course, will be bereft if we don't keep Chris Eubank. We've got Nassim Hamed. Now, that would be style on the Nile. Eubank, of course, plans to fight on in the Middle East. He's got a schedule lined up. Well, he's almost begging Barrera to come and fight. But, of course, Barrera hasn't come here to fight. Maybe someone didn't tell Chris. So a touch of replay then. As I say, I'm not even going to talk about the merits of the fight in itself. You can think about that. Just tell you that Barrera made his pro debut back in 1988. Eubank, of course, has been a pro since 85. He's had some good nights, no doubt about that. They had a draw, of course, with very Close, when a lot of people thought that Close was unfortunate not to have got the nod. Beat Close on the return. Beat Gary Stretch, the former light middleweight champion of Great Britain. So here we are. Round 5. Oh, nice left hand there by Eubank. First serious punch I think he's flicked out. So, Barrera, a man who's lost his last 4 and had his South American title, welterweight title, stripped from him because he failed to make the weight. Of course, you've not been getting the Eurosport official line on the Eubank comeback. You've been getting the Steve Holdsworth version. Of course, many of us will have our own feelings and ideas about Eubank's lifestyle and boxing abilities. Motives, of course. As I say, I think it's about the buzz, the massaging of the ego, which I don't, not for 1 second. Well, if you double the dull factor in this, you've got the Frankie Morrow fight. And I had to sit through that. Well, once again, there are flashes of Eubank speed. I was almost going to say brilliant, but stopped myself just in time. Even a performance like this, big miss there by Eubank, even a performance like this against a man like this won't stop the punters paying to see him. Of course, when Nassim Hamed came to the Yemen, he was getting more than 10,000 people flocking to see him spar. I've got a feeling Eubank might be trying to rival the Sheffield featherweight on that score. That could be a pretty fruitless task, by the way. And the packaged tourists are making a few whistling noises in the background, as you can hear. So that's round 4, come to a close. Well, he's not too happy with himself, I wouldn't have thought at this stage. Like Ronnie Davis there saying, get into the ropes, close him down and open up. That's funny. The Barrera corner said exactly the same thing. Close him down, get into the ropes and finish him off. Bit of replay here then from the 4th. Big miss, of course, there from Eubank. Just lost his footing. And one thing I'll always remember Eubank for was, in fact, Keith Miles set it up. Was giving me the first ever exclusive interview. At the time, I was working for Boxing Monthly. So Eubank then trying to work him over now. He wants to get this one over with, I've got a feeling. We're in round 5. Well, he's gone down there for a body punch. It didn't look that much. In fact, it looked like it missed. Well, he's not going to beat the count, is he? Until it's safe to get up. Well, that was a very meek performance by this Argentinian. I mean, what can you say? I don't even think a punch landed there. We'll catch that on the replay. you know, as I say, it wasn't about the fight. It doesn't matter that it's ended the way it has. It's no surprise. But it will go down as a knockout victory for Chris Eubank. Here we go, watch this. Let's see if a punch lands. Left to the head, right to the ribs. No, that one missed, that's for sure. So, quite possibly the right hand to the ribs initially caused Barrera to go over.
Ladies and gentlemen, on a countdown, 43 seconds of round 5, your winner is back, simply the best, Chris Eubank.
Yes, win number 44 and his 22nd knockout victim. So Eubank is back. Where to next? Abu Dhabi, Jordan, Yemen, Qatar, I don't know. Watch this space. But talking of comebacks, Hell Graham will fight Terry Ford on the 26th of November in Sheffield at the Concord Leisure Centre. Now that's a match that could come off between these two that may well have done 5 or 6 years ago, but didn't materialise. And one bit of bad news I'll leave you with, Paddy.